Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Piper, and this video is going to go over information that you need to know for our assignment entitled Elements of Art Scavenger Hunt. Now, the first thing that I'd like to share with you is the website that we're going to be using. So you can go into your search Google, and you're going to type in photos for class and hit enter, and that will bring you up to the quick and safe way to find photos. Now, this website is a safe place to search images for this activity. Now, we are going to be using photos for class to illustrate the elements of art. So you're going to have to find examples of line, color, shape, form, texture, space, and value. So as you do that, it could be very quick and very easy, but we want to make you think about what you're doing just a little bit more. So I've added an extra step. You have to create an image that utilizes primarily the color red. Then you have to come up with an image that uses primarily orange, and then one with yellow, then green, blue, violet, and either neutral or rainbow. And I'll explain what that means. So you not only have to illustrate the elements, but you also have to find pictures that focus on one color more than others. And I'm going to start by giving you an example of line. Line is our first element of art, so I'm going to type in the word line and click in Find Photos. Now, as you can see, there are several images that have lines, and you can see right away this one has a lot of green. This one has a lot of green as well. This one utilizes a lot of blue. So what you're doing is you're going to figure out which image you think best depicts line, and then you've got to determine if that color is one that you need. In other words, if you've already found, for example, green and you've used it to depict shape, then you don't need green for line. So I would recommend that you pull a couple of pictures. For example, this one focuses on red line. So I'm going to pull this one first. And in order to get this image, you click on the download button and it will pop up on the bottom. If I'm not mistaken, in a Chromebook, it automatically downloads it to the images file. And each one of you in your Chromebook should have a file entitled images. Now, in that images file, I would recommend that you create a new folder and you title it art elements or scavenger hunt. Do something so that you know exactly where you've placed these photos. Otherwise, you're just going to see a series of numbers and you will not remember what those pictures are of. So I'm going to click on my image. I'm opening it, and this I remember was red line. So I'm going to go to Save As. And I am going to put a new file on my desktop. So I'm going to open up my desktop. And in my computer, I do a right click and I go to New Folder. And it puts up a new folder. I'm going to title my new folder Art Elements. Now you could do this you could do it on your desktop if you wanted to save it there, but it should be probably in your images file. So I've got this new folder. It's called Art Elements. And I'm going to open it up. And right now it's empty. So I'm going to put this picture in it, but I don't really want to call it 1867838 because that's not really giving me the information I need to know. I need to know that this was the line that was in red. So I'm going to click on this title and I'm going to rename it Line Red. And now I'm going to save it. So I now know what element of art it is and what color it is. Now, I might want to go ahead and save some of the other images that I saw in case I end up not needing a red line, but maybe I end up needing a green line. So I liked this image for line, and so I'm going to again click on download. I'm going to open up the image, and I want to save it to that file called Art Elements. So I'm going to save it. Art Elements is opening up automatically on mine. You might have to click on your images file again. Remember, everything should be in your images. I'm now going to rename it. It is line, but this line is green. I'm going to save it. So now I have a couple of examples of line, and I would go through all of the elements: line, color, shape, form, texture, space, and value, and I would find several examples of each. Now I'm going to bring up an issue that comes to mind when I am searching for some of the elements. I'm going to take space, for instance. The word space in art is the creation of depth and distance in an artwork. So it's knowing that things that are in the foreground are larger, things that are in the middle ground are slightly smaller, things that are in the background are even smaller still. So that's what I think of when I think of space. But when I go to photos for class and I key in the word space, I'm going to find a lot of pictures of planets and solar systems. Well, this doesn't really particularly do a great job at illustrating space. I mean, it's gorgeous. It is space, but I want space as it relates to your art element. So I need to think of another scene that might show space. So instead of searching for the word space, I'm going to search the word landscape, because I know that if there happens to be a picture of an interesting landscape with hills in the background that look distant, then this will show space very nicely. This road, for example, how the lines get smaller and smaller as they go back in space, and how the distant hills look smaller and lighter. This is a very good image of space. So if I want to think about space in an art term, I really want to find something that shows foreground, middle ground, and background. And here is my winner. Look at that. That is beautiful. You'll notice that in the foreground, we see this rock that is very, very large. Then we see these trees in the middle ground and those distant mountains off in the distance. I like that. Now, if I'm looking at this and I'm thinking of a color that it would fit, I would probably either put this in the blue or the green category. Okay, so I'm going to save this one. I'm going to download it. And remember, you want to save it in the file marked Art Elements. And I'm going to call this one Save As Space, because this is the element of art that I am depicting. I'm going to call it Space. I'm going to call it blue or green. I think I'm going to say green. I think it's got more green than it does blue, although there is a lot of blue in there. That might change. I could definitely use that as the blue, but that gives you an idea of what what I'm looking for. Now, you will also notice that some of these landscapes have more of an orange feel. So you could find several different images that fit for the different colors. And oh, this is lovely. That would be really pretty for orange because of that sunset. And look at this one with all the trees. The large trees are in the foreground. The distant ones are smaller. This one has a lot of blue. This one's gorgeous. Oh, that would maybe even pick up blue violet. So there are several that you can choose from. And that is your assignment, to find images. Look at that with that yellow orange. Gorgeous. I'm going to click on that one. Your assignment, your scavenger hunt, is to find examples of the elements of art and save them in a file that you're going to then use to fill out your scavenger hunt form. Now, this one is showing space. Look at how large the mountains are close to the viewer, how clear they are. how much fuzzier they are in the distance and lighter in value. This one I'm going to save. I'm calling this space, and it's orange. Now, you will notice that I have come up with a couple of examples of each. I have a couple of examples of line. I've got a couple of examples of space. I'm collecting a variety so that when I come and open up my scavenger hunt form, I'm going to be able to fill it in with the different images. Remember, one will be yellow, one will be orange, one will be red, and there'll be all of these colors, and it'll either be neutral or it will be rainbow. So I'm going to be adding rainbow as an option because it occurred to me that if you're doing color, the element of art known as color, then you might want to make sure, or you might want an image that has a rainbow array of colors. So I'm changing that right now so that you can see what your form is going to look like. So this is our Elements of Art scavenger hunt, and I'm going to go over how to fill this in our next video. But for right now, I wanted to just make sure that you understood how to download and save photos from this website called Photos for Class. Remember, you are finding images that illustrate the elements of art, and you're doing that in a variety of colors so that you have one example of each of the elements of art using different color schemes. Okay, so this concludes our video. Remember, make a file on your desktop or in your images folder that you can save your pictures to. So that way, when you search up, let's say texture is one of our elements of art. If you go to texture and you see a really cool texture, maybe there's one in yellow. Look at the yellow and look at the blue. Look at the purple. Beautiful. So I could save this one in purple. I could save this one in yellow. I could save this one as an example of blue. And that way, I've got 3 different texture colors to choose from. Again, if you want to download it, you click on the download button. You open it up and save it into your art elements file, and you call it the element that it is. This one happens to be texture, and it happens to be purple. So you call it the element that it is illustrating and the color that is the primary focus. So now I have a purple texture. I'm also going to take this yellow texture because I really like that a lot. And that way, if I end up needing a yellow and I can't find one, I can use this texture one. So you are going to be responsible for finding the elements of art in a scavenger hunt. Again, labeling each one with the color and the element. This one is texture, but it is not purple, it's yellow. So now that I have started this activity, I can go to my desktop. You would go to your images file. And now I have examples of line, space, texture, and I'd go in and finish shape, form, space, value, line, and color. So I hope that this helps you get started on your activity entitled The Elements of Art Scavenger Hunt. Thank you very much for watching.